So this morning was pretty amazing. Woke up this morning, 3 o'clock as usual. Went out to the kitchen, right? Grabbed my glass of water like I always do. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes running this she's not 6. Is she 6? Yeah, she's 6. Comes running my 6-year-old. She just turned 6. Meredith comes running from around the corner, wide-eyed, wide awake. She's like, "Hey, Dad." I'm like, "Hey, it's 3 in the morning. What are you doing?" And she's like, "Yeah, so I couldn't sleep. I woke up a little while ago. I've been hanging out in my room. And now that you're up, I was wondering if I could turn on the TV. I was like, go to bed. It is 3 in the morning. What are you doing, you crazy person?" So it was, you know how your heart jumps when you don't expect to see a human coming flying around the corner at 3 in the morning. Well, that is the kind of morning that I had as I woke up today. So it was quite surprising to see Meredith, but it was good to know that she was super, super, super excited. So I went downstairs. I grabbed my hashtag Rise and Grind planner like I always do every morning. And at the very top of my hashtag Rise and Grind planner, there's always a quote. And the quotes are submitted by actual Rise and Grind members. We print them in the planner. It's my favorite part of the planner. And so today I opened it up. Here it is, Friday, October 1st, which I'm stinking excited about. Fourth quarter starts today, folks. The fourth quarter starts today, right? I love that. And so I read the quote. It was submitted by Chris Fugate. And the quote says this: "It's easy to get in trouble, but it's very hard to get out of it." It's easy to get in trouble, but it's very hard to get out of it. And so as I read that quote, I kind of thought about it. I was like, golly, I used to get into a lot of trouble. And I got to tell you, man, I paid for it. It was hard. Like, it never goes away, right? You think you can run away from some of those things, but ultimately you are going to pay for it. It is very hard to get out of it. But I also thought about all the lessons I learned in that, right? Like, sometimes we got to take some chances, man. Sometimes you got to do some stuff. Sometimes you got to have some failures. Like, we gotta learn our way through, right? That's the only way to really get that experience, is to learn our way through. So I appreciate Chris reminding me this morning. And I want to share with you, as you go into the fourth quarter, dude, go get into a little bit of trouble. All right? Like, dude, just do something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone. Now, I'm not saying get in trouble with the law. I'm not saying, hurt anybody else. I'm not saying anything like that. But I'm saying maybe in your business, maybe it's a dream of yours. Maybe it's a vision. Maybe it's something that you've been trying to chase that you've been a little bit scared of. Like, just go, man. Push yourself a little bit. You'll learn, you'll grow, and you'll thank me later. With that said, I am super excited. I'm going to be bringing Kristel Bauer to you guys today here on hashtag Rise and Grind. So let's dive in with today's amazing episode.
Good morning and welcome to hashtag Rise and Grind. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to 1, a father to 8, and the creator of what is going to be the #1 most watched morning show in the world. It is 5:30 a.m. and I hope that you are ready to rise and grind.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? Dude, today is Friday. That's right. It's Friday, October 1st, 2021. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Friday, October 1st, 2021. So let's make the absolute most, and I do mean the absolute most, of this absolutely incredible, incredible day. I am excited to introduce you today to a friend of mine, Kristel Bauer. She is my guest today. She is a top corporate wellness expert. She is also a professional, world-renowned speaker. She is a world-renowned business consultant as well, and she is the host of a top 1% rated podcast. Tons of downloads, the Live Greatly podcast with Kristel Bauer. So I'm super excited to bring her to you today, and I want to dive right in. Before we do, though, you know what we got to do on this show. I know how you guys are. So we got to do some dancing. We got to get the body moving. We got to get the blood pumping. We got to get the heart pumping and the blood flowing. We got to do all those things. And my friend Kristel, she's probably going to be doing some dancing in the background. I don't know. Look at her. Yes. Kristel's in the green room doing some dancing with us this morning, which I absolutely love. So for those of you that know, those of you that don't know, this is the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. That's right. I need you to hit that share button because I believe if we can change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact on this planet. I truly believe that. And sometimes all it takes to change the way somebody starts their day is for you to hit that share button. So if you're over there on Clubhouse, hit the plus sign, share it out. If you're on Facebook, you know what to do. That part's easy. And maybe if you're listening on YouTube or the podcast, any of those places, just drop us a comment. Let us know what's up. Connect with me. I want to stay connected with you as well. This is also the part of the show where I say good morning to you and you say good morning to me. Whether you're watching live, replay, any of those places, say what's up. I'll say what's up back. Fair enough? Fair enough. Good morning, Brad Smith. I'm glad you're here. What's up, Mike Strong? How you doing, Kim Fair? Jojo Laricia is up in here this morning. What's up, Soul Salcedo? We got Renee Noor and Janelle Griego, Joyce Rose Wallace, Debbie Wood, Brad Smith, Marcus Ellis, Mr. Sean Weatherby's in the house, Valerie Oakley, Amy Kennedy, West Storm, T. Lynch, Mike Stevens. My goodness, we're packed. Jeff Baker is in the house this morning. And over on Clubhouse, we got Sarah and Tamra and Steven and Scott and Brian and Brielle and Liza. And Kristel's right there. She's in two places. I love it. We've got Dora, Maria, Ramon and David, Navia and Lauren, Renee and Kimberly, Sebastian, Christina. And I'm going to skip down. I see Caroline and Mindy and Mr. Larry and Linda and Janice. I see Mayan and Pat and Anya and Nicholas. Thank you all so much for being here with us on hashtag Rise and Grind this morning. I greatly appreciate it. Hey, being together virtually is amazing. Being together live and in person, even better. 34 days from now, we're going to be celebrating the 1000th episode of hashtag Rise and Grind, and I want you to be a part of that. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, you need to do so. But don't take my word for it. Check out what these folks had to say.
Action-packed, it's faith-filled, it's changing lives. We started a fire.
The music, the speech, the presentation, it was out of this world.
This event has been completely mind-blowing. It's been so powerful and moving.
It's such a great environment. We're new business owners, and as new business owners, it's important and it's crucial to learn from the best, and we're here to learn from the best, so I encourage you to be at the next one.
If you did not leave this place inspired, there's something wrong with you.
The value that I'll take with me leaving this event is greater than any dollar I could have spent to get here or be here.
Go to growforgod.com, get your ticket for real. Go to growforgod.com, get your ticket for real. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Kristel, what are you doing November 5th through 7th? You going to be around?
That's a good question. I don't even know. I think so. Gotta look at my calendar, but this sounds incredible.
Well, that would be amazing. I would love to have you as our guest in Lexington, Kentucky, and you could bring the kids. They could meet my kids. You've got a 10-year-old. I've got a 10-year-old. You've got a 6-year-old. I got a 6-year-old. We can just match them up. They can run. They'll have a blast, and we could all spend some time together and learn and grow. How are you this morning, Kristel? I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so excited to be here, and that sounds amazing, Glenn. So thank you for telling me about that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can make it work. But I'm doing great, and I'm super excited to chat.
So you've been doing all kinds of things, right? Obviously speaking and working in the corporate world as far as wellness goes, which I know right now in the season that we're in, these things are more important than ever. They've always been really, really important. But I know I have a lot of leaders with organizations that I work with, and they're really concerned with the well-being of their employees during the season, right? Mentally, physically, spiritually, all of those things. So I'm excited to get into that with you just a little bit. Before we go too far, though, I do want to let you know this week on hashtag Rise and Grind, we've been doing a series. We've been doing a series that was called Just for Men. And I talked to the boys all week. We didn't let any of the ladies in here. It was the Just for Men series. And so I was curious. I was thinking about this as I knew that you were coming on this week. You being an expert in wellness, like is it different how men take to your programs than it is for women? Or how is it more important, this kind of stuff, for men or women? Like, what do you get being out there in the world when it comes to men and women in the world of wellness and corporate training?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I do think that men and women take to wellness differently. I have talked with a lot of women who struggle with a lot of guilt. I don't know if men have that too. I'm sure they do. But I know with women, a lot of it is this like sense of feeling like you have to do it all, having a hard time asking for help if they need help. And, both men and women can struggle with overworking. I think men sometimes fall into that category a little bit more, of the overworking and not taking breaks, not taking care of themselves, struggling with self-care. But really, self-care in itself is something that everyone can struggle with from time to time. And it really takes intentional practice to be able to create routines and rituals that nurture yourself, which is one of the reasons I love your show, because morning routines and morning is such a great time to really get that in, to get your self-care in before the day can get you carried off in a different direction.
Yeah, so important, right? Start with that solid foundation. Because other than the random 6-year-old popping out at 3 a.m., you're normally going to have a little space to be able to really dive in. I want to dig in on that just a little bit. You said women tend to carry kind of a guilt of having to get everything done. And then on the other side, men kind of like overwork, but maybe not from a guilt space. And I noticed that dynamic exists in my house, if I were being honest. Like, my wife definitely has this guilt thing. Like, she feels like, and I'm like, honey, you've got 7 babies under 12, right? We've got this big house, lots of laundry. She homeschools the kids and has for years, and she'll just beat herself up over like little things, right? That haven't gotten done. And I, on the other hand, I'm the one that'll just keep freaking working until I fall over and break down and die, right? So it's very interesting that you pointed out those dynamics, because I definitely do see that in my own home. So talk to me about this area of wellness. Like, how did you end up in this field? I'd love to learn more.
Yeah, for sure. So I was officially trained as a physician assistant, and I got my master's as a PA back in, let me think about this, 2006. I graduated, and then I worked in pediatric pulmonary, which is kids with lung problems. I did that. I did plastic surgery. I worked in hospital-based medicine. And then I was home with my kids for 6 years. I took time off, so I experienced the stay-at-home mom thing. And when I went back to work clinically, my interests had shifted. And I wanted to go into more of a integrative approach. So I worked in integrative psychiatry. I worked in functional medicine, and I saw people who were burnt out, who were working really hard, going after money or success, and they weren't taking care of themselves, and they weren't happy. Physically, their bodies weren't healthy. Mentally, they were struggling. And I saw all different types of things, people with anxiety and depression and all sorts of stuff. But it really got me looking at this bigger picture of well-being. And I furthered my education with Dr. Andrew Weil, and I became an integrative medicine fellow, which looks at all the components that go into your well-being. And after that, I was like, you know what? I really want to share this on a bigger scale. And so I left clinical practice. I started my company, Live Greatly. I started speaking. I started my podcast. And I felt like there's just such a need, especially in the corporate world, for people to take better care of themselves, that if you take good care of yourself, not only will you feel better, but also your performance will improve. It also can help you at work. So I think right now, especially with the pandemic, it is so incredibly important that people make themselves a priority and kind of get out of those bad habits that potentially have been holding you back from feeling your best.
Yeah, I agree 1000%. And I love that. I love how you were kind of in the field on one side, right? Like you were kind of behind the curtain and you were seeing all of these problems, these ailments, all of these things developing. And I love that you took the reins and said, you know what, I'm going to go out in front of this and really do everything that I can to impact and help a lot of people. That's a scary thing to do, right? That's a scary thing to go from kind of that safety net spot where now you're kind of out there and really having to lead the ship, right? To captain the ship. And it's a big mission that you're on, helping people, especially in a world where, you know, there's a lot of, what's the word? There's a lot of prestige, right? With kind of, you know, rise and grind, right? Like even right here on this show, right? There's a lot of, especially here in America, it's kind of like just go, 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 go. And some of this other stuff can get put to the side. Taking care of yourself can be seen as weakness, right? Or something like that. So it's an amazing crusade that you're on. I was wondering, like across the board, who would you say, I know that like it's so important that we build foundationally in order to really be able to step into our potential, right? To be able to perform at peak performance, we have to do that. And so I was curious, like in your field, do you find, I guess what I'm trying to say is who is it harder to help reach their potential? Is it the big dreamer that's just like always running, or is it more like the practical realist that, you know, that like kind of is like, do you get what I'm saying? Like which one have you seen from your experience? Is it the person that's kind of burnt out and not trying, or is it the person that doesn't even realize they're burnt out, but they're running like crazy that is in a more dangerous position?
Ooh, this is a good question. So I think firstly, one of the biggest problems, I think, is that people don't even know necessarily what matters to them. So they're spending their time going through the motions without really enjoying their life to the max. So when I think of reaching your ultimate potential, like that can look like so many different things. But I think firstly, it's getting to know who you are. So getting to know who you are, it takes reflection, it takes experience, it takes trial and error, it takes failure. But I think it starts with just slowing down a little bit and looking at the bigger picture of your life. What matters to you? What's your personal mission in this life? You know, this life is a gift. What do you want to do with it? And sometimes life gets so busy that we forget about that. And so I think, you know, people who have a grasp on that are in good shape, because then your life can be more meaningful. Going through struggle is a lot easier when you have that personal mission and that kind of greater understanding of things. So I think taking time for reflection is really, really important. Now, people who are like not action takers, you know, maybe they're not going to be able to reach that ultimate potential because they're not going for it. So I feel like there's this mix, like you have to be a dreamer in a sense of taking time for reflection, but you also have to just like go for it. You gotta not be afraid to fail and, you know, not be afraid of judgment. And actually, I'm going to take that back. You're going to be afraid, but you got to go for it anyways. You got to lean into it and just go for it, you know, which is something that I used to struggle with, of like, I would avoid fear. I would avoid that fear of judgment. And then with starting my business, I was like, I just got to go for it. You know, I wasn't comfortable on camera at first. I wasn't even comfortable speaking way back when. And I was like, I've got to just lean into it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets, the better you get, the more confident you feel.
And I love that you pointed out, like, and I think a lot of that comes from knowing what you're doing, like knowing where you're going, right? Then it's a little easier to face that fear. Like, I had on my mailbox yesterday morning. This is crazy, Kristel. Yesterday morning on my mailbox, the lid had come open, and so when I got done with my run, I went to check the mail, and there was a huge spider web, huge, and this big spider sitting dead center of my mailbox. I took a picture of it, but behind that spider there was a check in the mailbox, right? And so normally I'm like, I'm out, I'm not gonna do anything with it, but I'm like, grab my thing and like whap that spider out of there, because I got to get to the check, right? We can face those fears when we know what's on the other side. We know the reward that can come from that. So talk to me a little bit about that, because I have a very someone who's very near and dear to me, and I love her to death. And she is she's 46 years old now, right? She's 46 years old, empty nest. Right, her kids are now out, and she worked kind of one job for a real long time. 3 years ago, she gave herself permission to step out of that. Here she is now, 3 years later. She's dabbled in some things. She's done some artistic type things. She's done some job type things. Her husband owns his own business, so they've leaned into that a little bit. But I was talking to her yesterday, and she told me, she said, she's been struggling a little bit, and she said, I don't know what I want to do, right? She's like, I just don't know. I'm trying all these different things, but she says, I really have no a vision. Like, I can't see the end. And she's a very step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, right? Like, I'm a very jump out of the plane. Oh crap, I need a parachute. Let's figure it out on the way down. Not her style. She has to have an end game. For someone that is maybe more a type A personality that really has to have a plan before they can take action, but they don't really know how to get to that target, how do you help that type of person figure out where they're wanting to go?
Ooh, this is a big one. And I'm thinking about my personal journey on this. And when I was working and seeing patients regularly, it was stable. I was getting paid well. I could make my own hours. It was everything I had thought I wanted, right? Mm-hmm. And I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I was actually feeling really drained from the patient care. I was carrying it home. I knew all these wonderful self-care practices and I was using them, but I still I didn't feel, it felt like something was off. And so I knew I wanted to change, and I knew ultimately what I wanted to do, but I had no clue what that looked like. And I didn't know at that point I'd be starting a podcast and speaking and all the stuff I'm doing now, but because it wasn't something that I had really thought about before. So I just started with thinking about, okay, what is my bigger mission? Like, what do I want to do in the bigger picture? Okay, I want to help people. I want to reach more people. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have the one-on-one clinical care. Like, I started kind of with where I was at. And then from there, I don't even know how it happened. It just was like one thing fell into place, and I just had to kind of take that first step of, okay, I'm going to leave. I'm going to just lean into teaching because I was doing some university lecturing. I'm going to see where things go. And that was hard for me because I wanted that big picture plan, but it just wasn't there yet. So I think sometimes you can be a type A person. You can want to have that bigger vision, but it's just maybe not quite ready. You got to start moving before you can kind of see everything fall into place. So to your friend, I would just tell her to just keep moving and to lean into whatever feels right. And hopefully she'll kind of figure it out as she goes along, which I know is a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I love that though, right? Like, you've kind of gotta create the motion first, and as you start to create those motions, you'll start to pick up some momentum and maybe start to get some little breadcrumbs that'll lead you to ultimately where you want to go. I think that's great advice, and I know she'll watch today's episode. She watches all our shows, so I appreciate you sharing that with her. So talk to me about living greatly, those particular words are what you chose for your podcast and your mission, your company. If anybody wants to learn more about that, they can go to livinggreatly.co. So I always, when I interview people, I really pay attention to the things that they title things, because obviously it means something really personal to them. So talk to us about why those words, why live greatly, and what does that really mean?
Sure. Okay. So live greatly. I know you were saying living greatly, which I was thinking about, but I went with live greatly. And the part of the reason I came up with this is I was going through a challenging time when my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And that was a really, a big moment in my life, kind of like a checkpoint for myself and where I was at. And at that point, I was home with my kids. I wasn't working at that point, and that got the wheels turning in my head. Like, what do I want to do with my life? And what's holding me back? And how can I move past that? And what do I want to accomplish? What's my mission? What's my personal mission? And so I felt like once I got over that fear of failing, fear of judgment, all these silly things in the big picture that I realized were kind of silly when you're looking at a loved one going through stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I want to figure out what my ultimate potential is. Like, I want to look back on my life and I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to have regrets. And I felt like if I held myself back because I was afraid that ultimately I would be disappointed with what I wasn't able to accomplish or that I didn't know. So I felt like for me, it was really this goal of living in the moment and having a full, vibrant life. And whatever that looks like for you, listening, that is going to be a very unique thing. But my goal is to have each person feel empowered and to really thrive personally and professionally if you choose to have a working career. So I think this bigger picture of Live Greatly really is kind of a tribute to my mom. And she's passed at this point, but it's really looking at treasure your life. Each day is a gift, and how can you live it to its maximum potential and to its fullest.
Well, I think that's beautiful, and I'm sorry to hear that you lost your mother.
Oh, thanks, Glenn.
But there definitely is something, not but, get rid of the but. There is something to be said when we face our own mortality, right? Like when we lose a loved one and we realize the finality of that and the uncontrollable nature of that, right? Like it's definitely a wake-up call. You're like, wait, you mean I can't just live forever and I don't have all the time in the world? Like, I actually should probably get on these things that I'm dreaming about and these visions that I have. I should probably get to that. And so I love that you took that moment and now turned that into something that is making an impact on so many people, around the planet, really, with your podcast and all the things. Like, it's amazing. That's really the legacy that your mom now leaves, is she was able to inspire you to go out there and help other people live greatly. And I think that that's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much, Glenn.
Yeah, you bet, Kristel. You bet. Well, I could sit here and chat with you all day. And the good news is, over on Clubhouse, we will be able to continue this conversation. Here over on Facebook, however, we got time for one more question, and then we'll close it out on Facebook, and then we'll go over to Clubhouse. And so for those of you that are watching on Facebook, make sure you go join the Breakfast with Champions room on Clubhouse. Kristel's going to join us over there. You have time for a few more questions over on Clubhouse, won't you, Kristel?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, perfect. It is 4:30 in the morning for you over there, or now 5 a.m., right? I'm sure you don't have any dinner plans yet, not this early. So we'll steal you over on Clubhouse and give everybody an opportunity to chat with you. But before we go over there, what I would like to do is I'm going to put you up on top of a mountain real quick, okay? So, Kristel, you're up on top of a mountain, and all of civilization is at the base of the mountain. Everybody, they're all there, right? And they're cheering your name. Kristel, 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 right? And yeah, there you go. There's Kristel, Kristel, Kristel. I love it, right? Everybody's cheering, dancing, clapping, applauding. It started with the slow clap, and then it kind of started to pick up, right? And everybody's like, yeah! And then somebody walks over and brings you a microphone, and they hand it to you, and they say, Kristel, you have 2 minutes. 2 minutes to talk to all of humanity, to drop something on them, practical application wisdom, something they can apply in their life today, this week, this month, this year. What are you going to tell them?
Ooh. All right, let me see here. I would want to let everyone know that you have the ability to shift your perspective. So wherever you're currently at, if there is something that is holding you back, something that doesn't serve you, you can change it. So one question that I love to ask myself, if I'm feeling a little bit stressed or unhappy or down, and we can be so hard on ourselves sometimes, but I like to ask myself, how can I view this in a way that empowers me? So I think we all have so much more power than we realize over our health, over our well-being. So I would say, feel empowered, and your perspective, just that perspective shift can change your life. And really my personal goal too is to believe in myself and to love myself. And I think that's something that us as human beings struggle with. And I think we all need more self-love. So whatever you can do to love yourself more, do it. And, build that trust with yourself, and shifting your perspective can change your life.
I love it. Whatever you can do to love yourself, shifting that perspective can change your life. It's really just turn the page, right? Who you were, what you've done, where you come from has nothing to do. You can choose. You can choose to change that all right now, today, October 1st, 2021, fourth quarter, first day of the month, first day of the fourth quarter. You can make a decision right now to make 2021 the most incredible, impactful year of your entire life. I align with that 100%. Kristel, thank you so much. You are an amazing superhuman, clearly stepping into your greatness. And I am so thankful that you chose to spend some time with us here this morning here on #Rise and Grind. And I'm excited to hang out with you over on Clubhouse as well. And it looks like right here at the last moment, our camera it looks like we lost Kristel, but she's still over on Clubhouse. So that's great. So go follow us over there. Do me a huge favor, Rise and Grinders. Would you hit Kristel Bauer up? Go to livegreatly.co, or follow her on her socials. She's got an amazing Instagram page. Connect with her, blow her up, Rise and Grind style. Let her know that you're thankful that she's here. Anything that maybe resonated with you, share that. Just blow her up the way that we do, the way that we welcome our guests here, and go out there and turn the page. All right, turn that page. Start today. Make a decision. Love yourself. Love yourself, really lean in, start moving towards your intention, your purpose, your dreams, your visions. Take action towards that, and then come back here again Monday morning at 5:30 a.m. and we'll do this all over again on #Rise and Grind.
I just like the sound of it.
I'm a hustler on the grind. You a hustler on the grind. I'm a hustler on the grind. Yeah, we some hustlers on the grind. Look, Dave said make a video on why I deserve to be at Hustle and Grind Con. I said, Dave, that's easy. Everybody knows that